Okay, we're going live.
Are we live?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What's going on, everyone? It's Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf. This is our round 2 DFS Showdown targets for the 2021 Zurich Classic. I got to mute that computer over there where I got it in. Thank you for joining us live. Make sure to hit that thumbs up. Looks like everyone has. Thank you for doing that. Craig, what's going on? We got some team golf. Me and you are going to do some alternate picks here.
Yeah. What's going on? Anyone who is not on Team Norway should be on Team Norway, I think, by now. Although at least in the best ball, we'll see. We'll see what happens in the alternate shot. I think it's going to be really interesting going from today's round into tomorrow.
Yeah, if Hovland can carry his weight,
Yeah.
Chris is doing all the heavy lifting. Let's see if Hovland can do something tomorrow.
I didn't catch a ton of the early play. I watched a little bit more. I was able to watch a little bit more in the afternoon.
Well, Golf TV was
and
down.
it is funny. Someone, I think it was maybe Timmy Brown in the chat. Someone had mentioned how so many of these teams we kind of expected there to be a weak link and a strong link, and the weak link actually was playing way better than the one we expected to be the strong link.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like there was that a few cases of that for sure, but I mean, low scoring. Really low scoring. Do you think, I guess a question off the bat is, do you think you needed to go low today to kind of make that cut? Like, will it be much harder to go from the outside in and easier to drop out? Or what are you thinking for kind of setting yourself up?
I think we'll see some teams that, so we've got, 19 teams here, and then there's 9 more teams at -7.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So we've got 26 teams, 26 teams. Some of those teams are going to fall off.
Oh, yeah.
And miss the cut, for
Without
sure.
a doubt.
So I'll be very curious to see what the scoring average is tomorrow. I think it'll be potentially over par.
Over par? You think over par?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, like, what is it normally? A really good round, we're talking like maybe 1 under, but it's going to be hard when you're alternate shot. I think it's a little bit trickier than just playing your own ball through.
I was going to talk about this later, but my prediction for scoring average for tomorrow, I'll put it like -1.75.
-1.75. I'll take the under, or the over.
I hear you.
I would say plus 0.25.
Plus 0.25? I feel like we're on different planets. Why do you think alternate shot's going to be so hard?
Oh, are you like are you extrapolating from like the -5 average today?
No, I looked at some previous scores.
I guess okay. So I have not looked at that.
And there's big numbers out there. I was looking at 2019 a bit. I got a tidbit about one of your picks later on that I put in my back pocket that I'm going to unveil in a second here. But you can definitely shoot yourself out of it. And I mean, there's
sure. And that's what I expect, a little bit more of that than people going low to work their way into the cut. I expect people will play their way out of it. It's just hard when you're playing alternate shot and you have you make a mistake and then your teammate has to hit the shot from where you put them in a bad spot. And so everything there's a bit more friction on alternate shot days.
There's absolutely more friction. I think I saw in 2019 for round 2 specifically that the low score was 66. And there's a handful of like 67, a handful of 68. And there was a bunch, a few under par and then quite a few over par as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting. So looking at the leaderboard, there's definitely a few people that we expected up there. We had people on Horschel Burns, Champ Finau, Watson Scheffler. Man, Leishman and Smith looked really good. Yep. There's so many teams here within 3 strokes that... Yeah.
I mean,
you have to think Xander, Cantlay are looking menacing on the board.
Oh yeah, but I think going back to our Wednesday show, there's a few that we talked about. Garnett, Stallings, we talked about KH Lee Stanley. I didn't pivot there, but that was the one where I almost went back and made a lineup. I'm like, why don't I have any Kyle Stanley and KH Lee?
Yeah.
And then Sloan and Baddeley are up there as well, and those are the ones more so than the. Okay, I'm going to get ahead of myself here too a little bit. The one I'm most worried about is Sung J M and Benny Ann at -4. But I feel like they're still a solid enough team. I'd rather have them up there and Garnett, Stallings up high, give them a little bit of cushion so they can kind of I mean, you know what
I
I'm
feel
saying?
like Sung Jae and Benny Ann are either gonna like go shoot a 66, or they're just gonna totally
Yeah,
go the other way.
yeah,
Like I feel like you'll see a lot of teams playing fairly conservatively. I think they're just gonna go at pins and stuff. So
yeah.
we'll see. We'll
Robert
see.
says, I believe more big name golfers will come through tomorrow. I agree, but it's like it's hard to know. I mean, yeah, Xander Cantlay will for sure. I think Ron Palmer, but it'll be harder to know if Morikawa goes crazy, how much Wolf can drag him down. Like it's just
Hmm.
harder to. It's like an immeasurable round, really. You can't measure it.
I mean, you can't really distribute it
Yeah.
between the two players. But yeah, so just jumping into the format, round two format, alternate shot.
So beforehand,
Team.
yeah, beforehand, me and your team, Craig, you're going to do odds. I'm going to do evens. That's how we tee off for the entire round. And then after that, so you tee off on one, then it's my shot, your shot, my shot, your shot until we get in the hole. No matter who finishes, the player who's on two still tees up on two. So you alternate
Yeah,
that.
doesn't matter who hit your last putt.
Yeah.
Essentially, whoever teed off in the hole before, the other person tees off in the
But
next one.
but basically, what we were talking about on Wednesday, and again reiterating, is you can't hide a partner. Um,
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna have to make that 30 some swings to.
Speaking of which, I think the worst shot of the day that I saw was after Charlie Hoffman hit it in the water on 17. Nick Watney hit in the water right afterwards.
Oh, I
Oh.
didn't see that. I must have been.
But then,
Must have been.
but then he took his drop, and then he made his up and down to get into a bogey.
Really.
So it's one of those few times in a best ball that a bogey is actually a decent result at that point.
Yeah. And then quickly, I mean, this doesn't really mean anything. I kind of just threw this together, but the odd and even holes. So the teammate that they assigned to the odd holes has three par threes, which I thought were interesting, and a few of them are pretty long. On the even holes, you have one par three with six par fours, and then equal number par fives. So I know, I mean, I'm sure guys like Brown, Kisner, who have played this like almost a dozen rounds probably together at this course, know who's going to tee up where. But some of the new teams, maybe not. But there's definitely strategy to, the long irons do we want on the par threes.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's us, clearly you go on the odd holes and I go on the even holes because you don't hit a driver. So those those par threes might as well have you hit irons you're gonna hit anyways on those holes.
That's very true. That's very true.
Or are you hitting drivers these days?
No,
Or
I can
no?
I
Still
can
no.
push my three wood out there pretty good. I'm
Oh, so
he's
for a while you were totally off the woods even. You would just hit
no
your
wood.
2 iron or 3 iron or whatever
Yeah,
it was.
yeah. I was playing.
But you're onto woods, just not
I,
quite the
I got a
driver.
three wood. I'm pretty happy with. You'll see it
Gotcha.
uncorked this summer. I'm sure.
Gotcha.
What else?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it will be interesting to see what teams do and if there is any sort of pattern.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is where we also might see kind of that veteran experience, course experience play into it a little bit more, or just like uh, the camaraderie.
The teams that have a better relationship, I think that will be one of the things that we
Like
see.
Burns and Horschel don't really seem like really close friends, and if Horschel's saying I want to do the even holes, I don't think Burns is gonna be like I also want to do, like let's talk about this. I think it'll just kind of like happen, but. These other guys, Ron Palmer, will have more of a discussion because they've been teammates for a while.
Yeah, and I feel like Oosthuizen and Charles they should be like whatever.
Yeah.
Like what do you sure. Like I don't really care. Let's try to get a paycheck and get out of
They
here.
played a lot of President rounds together,
President's Cup rounds.
President's Cup
Yeah,
rounds
although
together.
I went back and looked at it, and Usti and Grace played
Yeah,
together a lot
yeah.
in President's Cups.
But from
Because I was trying to, spoiler alert, they might be coming up here, but I was trying to figure out if they had a long record together, and there was a lot of Oosthuizen Grace over the last few years.
yeah. Okay, so round one scoring average. Craig are these numbers, so hold it to him if they're wrong. But you're not going to check it. Minus 5.34. It was low. Like we said, Craig thinks it's going to be over par tomorrow. I think it's going to be under par. So I'm going to make the cut prediction. Remember, so top 33 in ties. It's going to get slim pickings there to make it through the cut. I'm going to go it's at -6 right now. I'm going to say it goes to -8. That's my bold
I'm going to say
prediction.
it stays at 6.
Stays at 6. But it's over par, but it's going to be playing. Okay, whatever.
It's going to stay there. It's going to be close to par, the scoring average.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Weather, anything standing out? So there's
No, I mean,
the course is right in
there's
between two weather stations. I went with the Naval Air Station instead of the International Airport, I believe it is. But
yep, no, I'm not making my picks based on weather. I don't think it's significant enough.
no, I think the only thing is again. So okay, so this is probably good because our next one is picks here. I'm looking at more guys that can not necessarily go super low, but can save those pars and take advantage of the birdie opportunities when they come. That's what I'm looking at. More short game guys. Any strategy, and I think that plays with the wind as well. If it's a little bit more difficult, if the wind picks up.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just tried to look for guys that I think are good value based on the price. I do think, I tried to think about teams. I think there is more potential. Like they don't play a lot of team golf, so I think the if things start to go sideways, the better relationship teammates have, or more the vets that this isn't the biggest deal. They're not gonna unless they're like a bit of a hothead or something like that. It's not really that big of a deal if they know they hit a bad shot. They know they're going to try to get it back. It's not like they're going to feel like, oh my goodness, I'm letting my teammate down. I haven't played a team golf game since my last year at college. Like this is going to be so hard. I would say nothing too crazy. I'm looking for value.
Yeah, fair enough. Should we jump into it?
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, and I guess if it's not, I was going to say 2 teams. We've just picked 2 this week because it's going to get tight on the weekend. There's not going to be a lot of teams around on the weekend.
Yeah, 2 teams each.
Yeah.
My first team, I'm going with those boys. Chris, Kirk, and Brendan Todd had 9,000 on DraftKings. They went 66 today in the morning wave. They were 6 under. Not spectacular. They're right on the cut line, so they're going to be out in the afternoon. They're going to probably have a good idea where they need to get to or where they need to hold on to. But another thing I looked for, Craig, looking at my teams for tomorrow, is teams that weren't super unbalanced, or if they were, the star was the one that kind of held them down. So Benny and Sungjae Im. Sungjae Im kind of had a bad day, but I think he can bounce back tomorrow. But the ones, like the Morikawa Wolf, like it's going to be much harder to kind of keep that steady pace. So Chris, Kirk, Brendan, Todd, I feel like we're very kind of steady teammates together. Each 3 birdies. That's how they got 600. Looking at their past year, the past 6 months, the past 3 months, they're positive stroke gain around the green and putting. Any kind of time period you want to look at in the past year, really. So I think with that, they can avoid the big numbers. Kirk can hit the approach and Todd can knock it in, and vice versa. It's not like there's a huge weakness. Yeah, Todd isn't great off the tee and approach, but he's also it's not something that's weighing him down, I don't think.
No. I mean, I also think part of that is just because he's not super long.
Yeah.
So I don't think he puts himself in too bad of spots though.
Yeah, and this one would be a good one. Like put Kirk on those 3 par 3s. And let Todd pour in those birdie putts wherever Kirk kind of lands them. Good college roommates, great friends. We talked about that before. And I just feel like I was kind of, again, I looked at the morning wave, who's going really low, who's around that area. And Burns, Horschel, and 9,300 were just above them. I know this is kind of a reach. It's 300, but still, I mean, we don't have that many teams. I feel like they're a good pivot. And then Hovland, Ventura, 9,200. So if you went down to Kirk, Todd, I think they can do just as good as those 2 teams tomorrow.
Yep, I like it. I also think, kind of as a side, but I think they did bring the pricing structure a little bit back to a reasonable point.
I think so
as
too.
compared to the week long. Like it seems like these are normal showdown prices compared to the pre-tournament prices for the week long. It was like these don't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
So nice to see that. It makes it easier to actually build some lineups here.
Yeah.
My first one, I'm going with one of your week-long ones. I'm going with Louis Oosthuizen and Charles Schwartzel, 8,800 on DraftKings. I just really like this team. I think they have a great shot this week. I think they're one of these teams that we saw a decent round, a good round from them on Thursday. I think they're going to be just as good in the other format. So they were 9 under 63. We saw Usti had 4 birdies, but it was actually Charles that carried him through the front 9 and then played well on the back 9 too. Usti started to make some putts and whatnot and play a little bit better on the back, but we sort of expected that Oosthuizen was going to be more of the strength of the team. But, similar to what you're talking about with Kirk and Todd, these guys both have really strong short games over the last 2 years. So this is combined strokes gained putting and around the green. Both of them gain over a half stroke with their short game. Oosthuizen's 0.65, Charles 0.52. So I think that's one of those things that it's exactly what you're talking about. That's going to allow them to do a better job of avoiding bogeys, even if they're not playing a hole perfectly. I like their chances of getting away from that hole and not moving backwards. Last 3 rounds. So these guys, this is their 3rd year in a row playing here together. 2018, they had 2 good alternate shot days. 2019, and not so much. So
I didn't even see the slide. I had that they went, I think, 64-78 in 2019.
So they were one of these teams that just ejected from the tournament on the Friday. So I do think that Schwartzel has been a little bit more up and down, and he was not playing super great at that time. I don't actually know if that's why they
I tried to do some research on it because I was going to poke fun of you a little bit. The PGA leaderboard wasn't loading. I got the Golf Channel one that just had the scores. So I couldn't see the shot tracker, but I could see the scores. And I'm pretty sure they made a 10 on a par 4 10th or something. So a lot of those strokes were on one hole that,
Gotcha. So that's a 6 over right there.
Yeah.
That actually, honestly, that makes you feel better about a 78 when it's not just, leaking bogeys all over the place. I really like him tomorrow. I think 8,800 is an awesome price for them. It just feels like a bit of a steal to me at that price. So I like him. I'm going to be playing him. That's as much as I got to say about that.
Yeah, I got quite a bit of exposure tournament long, so I'll probably not go too heavy. Just save myself a little bit of stress. But a team that's been playing together, as we mentioned, over a decade. So when Louis hits it in the water, Charles will just kind of like, good one, you idiot. And they'll just kind of laugh it off and brush it off.
Yeah. Did you see when Oosthuizen made his first birdie today?
Yeah. He gave like a big fist bump. Before we move on to the next one here, a couple of good points. Chalk aside, Palmer and Raw makes sense. I mean, they look really good.
I think they're, if not Xander Cantlay, I think they're the favorites every day this week.
Yeah, I really like where both their games at, really. And Peck said, putting in a premium on putters and short game for tomorrow's format as well.
I'll agree. Picking Stanley was not so bad.
It's not so bad.
I unfortunately did not plug them in, but hey, you don't get them all.
It's a long tournament. We'll see what happens. Okay. Bryce Garnett, Scott Stallings. This is my second pick here. 7,200 on DraftKings. I have a little bit of a confession here. I put this in when they were probably on hole 8 or 9. They were trending in the right direction. If you listen to our Wednesday night show, I think I have 25 or 30% of this team of my exposure. So a team
this sounds less like a confession and more like, the hipster, like, oh man, I liked them so much, so long before they were cool.
So my wife and I, our situation is that I pick up on Thursdays our daughter from daycare so I can kind of sleep in and start the PGA day. I get my Thursday mornings and I pick her up. So I had to leave the house and I had to go pick up her daughter at daycare. I come back. These guys are lighting the course on fire. I already did my research for, I like where they're trending. I love their bogey avoidance, which I'll get into. But anyways, they went from kind of my favorite play in the low.
Your dark horse to,
well, just got not dark horse, but maybe just keep an eye out for this team to chalk. So yeah, I'm fine with that. If they're 30%,
it's just good value though at 7,200.
It's just good value.
That's ultimately, yeah.
So why I like them basically. Again, even split. Garnett had 5 birdies. Stallings had 5 birdies. Stallings started out pretty poor, or vice versa. Anyway, someone had a couple of bogeys. The other person carried it. They went on and off and kind of figured it out. But there's steady form over the past 3 months. This is strokes gained total. Stallings is at plus 0.01 and Garnett is 0.26. When we get into the high 6s, low 6s, low 7s, there's not many teams. We talked about this Wednesday night that have both guys positive. Mm-hmm. If you go to 6 months,
down in this range.
Stallings is negative when you go to 6 months, but it just shows he's been playing pretty good recently. And this is the stat that I really like. So when you look at the bogey avoidance for the PGA Tour season, these guys are both in the top 15. Stallings is 13th. Garnett is 15th, around 13%, both of them. I think that's a really good stat to show that they're not going to bleed a lot of strokes tomorrow. They might not have the lowest one, but they're going to be my last team in for the price. So
if anything, you wouldn't have expected them to go out there and do what they did today.
totally.
You would expect them to play better in the alternate shot format.
It's a team I flagged for this format. Exactly. Not for the best ball. So it's just kind of pleasantly surprised. And then hopefully they can go 1-2 under, maybe even better, and be a pretty good showdown lineup that you fit in with 5, around 8K, 9K range.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that I'm just going to point out is, the 5 birdies. Obviously, there are times where, Ron Palmer comes up as an example. I can't remember the hole, but like Palmer had it in tight, and then Rahm rolled in a long putt. So we're not saying necessarily that it's perfectly captured, but
no,
it just, if they both have 5 birdies on the cards, it means both of them are playing well.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think it's not, don't use it as an example that so and so's playing really badly. It could be that he just didn't even have to putt there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good point.
Okay, my last one, Dylan Frittelli, Kevin Streelman, 7,800, 65, 7 under. Frittelli played quite well. He had an eagle, 3 birdies. Streelman, 2 birdies. So this, I think, is just one of these little bit veteran. I mean, Frittelli, I guess, is 30 years old or so, but they've been around for a little while. I think that if things go a little bit sideways, they're not gonna, it's not like the wheels are gonna fall off.
Yeah.
They have a very strong T2 green game. Over the last 2 years, Frittelli's gaining a half stroke there. Streelman's over that. He's 0.88. The real thing that is kind of causes me, if there is hesitancy on this one, this is what it is. It is they need to overcome weak putters. Long-term form. This is the average of both of them, but both of them are negative, both over the last 2 years and over the last 3 months. The average of both of them is minus 0.13 over the last 2 years and minus 0.28 over the last 3 months. Now, Frittelli is actually worse than Streelman in both periods. So it is one of these ones where it's encouraging to me that he played better. I mean, his numbers were better today, so that I would say is the one encouraging thing. But strong tee to green game, weaker putters. I'm okay taking that, taking that chance at 7,800. If they were, 8,500, they were higher priced. This is where I don't quite know how they've adjusted things from the pre-tournament pricing to now, but these guys have definitely fallen relative to the people around them as well. So I just think there's value there at 7,800 with these two.
Yeah, I think they're the team. I mean, which kind of says in the stats that they could push for one of the lower scores, but they're not as safe. Just as with that putting floor, with both of them not being as steady putting. But they absolutely, it wouldn't shock me if they were one of the top 5 scorers, just because they are very good ball strikers. Can be greater on the greens. So it's just a higher risk, high reward, I think. And I think
they also were someone who had a decent, going into the tournament, the spreadsheet we were using yesterday during our live show, they looked decent for the people around them at that point. And then they've actually fallen now, they're below, I want to say, Gim and Sa, who, those are 2 guys that I like better, I think, in a best ball format than I do in an alternate shot. They've fallen below a couple other people that I feel like, okay, if you didn't like them at the first pricing, maybe now take a second look at them here.
No, I agree. Okay, that's kind of quick and easy there. Thank you for watching. Hit that thumbs up, Craig. I feel like I interrupted you. What were you going to say there?
No, I was just going to say that's it.
I got
Finau breaking the curse or not. I think the big thing will be if he does get a win here, people will say that it's not even breaking the curse. Or Peck is saying either Finau breaks the curse or Louis gets his first PGA win. I think either of those people will be like, oh, well, it's not quite the same. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. I still think there's a few of those teams we had spoken about yesterday, or a lot of people had brought up. Watson, Scheffler, still they're dangerous. Burns, Horschel, like a lot of these teams we kind of suspected going in could be potential contenders.
Yeah.
And Ron Palmer, you can't look away from them, I don't think, at any point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talk about on showdowns. I mean, these are 4 guys that we kind of flagged, but there's a lot of guys from our Wednesday night show that, we still like and are going to make our teams and think they can continue to climb the board, or we just like where they're at already.
Yeah, I almost feel like tomorrow is just like sort of like brace yourself, get through the day, and then like you try to go blitz the course again on Saturday.
It's like you pull out your sword, your Jon Snow, and you're just like holding. You're like, hold. Oh. That's the only metaphor.
And you make sure you zigzag when people are shooting arrows at you, right?
Yeah. Come on, Stark. Zigzag.
Yeah. Okay, I think that does it.
Yeah, thanks for joining, everybody. Good luck tomorrow.